If you have lifted your 2006 or newer Ram 1500 and you've noticed that your current control arms are worse for wear, this set of front upper control arms for 2 to 4 inches of lift in black is a great solution for you. Now these are good for both on and off-road driving styles, made to handle from 2 to 4 inches of lift and tougher situations like heavier loads or larger tires. These are also for the Ram owner who's looking for a serviceable option that they can maintain to get the most out of their set while also saving a few bucks compared to some premium choices. Now, lifting your truck can change your ride and the quality of that because of the change in suspension angles and alignment angles. And one way to get some better ride quality is to flatten that upper control arm, which is exactly what this set will do for you. Now, the improved design and the corrected angle of the ball joint both assist in the quality of your ride, helping to return it to more of a factory-like feel with less limitation in your wheel travel while still getting a controlled feel for increased traction, which is helpful in both on and off-road scenarios. The corrected angle will also help with just wear over time, and the ball joints and the bushings are again serviceable, so you can grease them and enjoy the benefits of these for the long run. These are made of a tubular steel construction, being tough enough to handle the stress of larger tires and tougher driving conditions, as I mentioned, and they have a black powder coat finish on top to resist any rusting on the surface or damage over time. The ball joint is also heat-treated alloy steel, and the control arms have additional gusseting, which adds to the strength and the reliability of this set. The control arms also have polyurethane bushings to help add some stiffness to the feel and some better stability and maintain a crack-free construction over time compared to the factory hardened rubber. And these also have a tower-style dust boot for the ball joint, which is an improvement from the factory as well, and it just helps keep that joint in solid shape. This kit also comes with all the required hardware for a complete bolt-on install process. This set is about $375, which is right in the middle of the road when it comes to pricing. Now there are tiers when it comes to control arms, including factory style replacements, upgraded steel replacements like this one, and then there are some premium choices that can include adjustability and additional performance features, leaving this option again right in the middle of the road, being a great balance of both of those sides. Now this has the strength and the serviceable build in addition to not breaking the bank, so if you're looking for a mid-level solution that will offer some much better performance than stock, but one that's not too pricey, then this is a great choice for you. Install here is a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and it should only take about 2 hours or so with the right tools and setup. However, at this point, I'm going to hand it over to one of our installers. They're going to show you a detailed breakdown on how you can bolt these onto your Ram at home. So that wraps it up for what I have to say. Let's go ahead and get into the install.
All right, for this install, you're going to need a pry bar, a hammer, a mallet, a 3/8 ratchet, a 21 mil wrench, 9 mil wrench, 21 mil socket, a clip removal tool, and a pair of side cutters. Not shown on screen, a floor jack, and a set of jack stands. Today we're going to be installing control arms on our Ram. Let's get started. All right, our first step, we're going to remove the wheel speed sensor away from the control arm using a clip removal tool. Once that's out of the way, you can let it sit there. Now we're going to move on to the control arm. Now we can remove the upper control arm bolt from the upper control arm and the knuckle. Using a 21 millimeter wrench, break this loose. Once we get to this point and have a couple threads showing, we're going to smack this with a hammer so we can release the tension. Now we can use a pry bar to keep some tension on the control arm. Hook it in the spring and press down, and we can use this to undo the bolt. Now we can gently lift up and release the tension. Now we can pry up on the control arm to get it out of the knuckle. Once we have the control arm loose from the knuckle, we can undo the 2 top bolts using a 21 mil wrench. All right, now we can get in there with our 21 mil ratcheting wrench. Move on to the outer bolt. All right, now we're gonna switch to a 21 mil ratchet so we can get this out faster. Lift up on the shield. Now we can support this and just pull the bolt out. Now we can move on to the other side. Pull the control arm out. Now the two flag nuts that came out upon the uninstall, we're gonna save these for the install. All right, after you remove that, you're gonna repeat for the other side. All right, our new control arm comes with a new set of bushings and a bushing sleeve, so we're gonna press those in and get it started. So we flip it over. We can press one in. You may need some silicone lubricant to get these in, or you can push them in by hand. One on either side. And then we're going to take our sleeve and slide it through the middle. All right, for the sleeve, you might get jammed up right there. You can put this on the edge of a workbench or in a vise and just tap it in the rest of the way with a mallet. Once you have that fully seated and it's flush on either side, you can repeat for the other side. All right, now we're gonna install our grease fittings. We have two under these bushings and we have one in the middle here. So we can start off by threading these in. And now we can tighten this down with a 9mm wrench. And you want to try to get your orientation out towards the arms facing side. So that way you can access it better. Once you have the grease fittings in, you can choose to leave this cap off if you choose to grease it on the vehicle or off the vehicle. But we're going to install this cap right now so that way we can show you how it goes on. We're just going to press in. If you need to use some silicone lubricant or a mallet, just tap it right in. All right, once you have your bushings and your grease fittings installed, you're going to repeat for the other side. All right, now that we have our control arm assembled, we're going to insert it into the vehicle. Now we can get our bolt slid into position so we can get it held there. Now we can pull our bolt back just a little bit so we can get our flag bolt in there. And we can snug this up with our 21mm socket. Now we can slide this flag bolt into the other side. Tighten this down with the 21mm socket. Now we can support this a little bit and tighten it down. Other side with our 21mm wrench. All right, now we can unthread our nut and slide our knuckle in. All right, now we can tighten down our new hardware with our 21mm wrench. Now for our wheel speed sensor, we're going to want to zip tie this out of the way anywhere possible that you can just get out of the way of moving parts. Once you have everything installed, you want to go back and torque everything down to spec and then repeat for the other side. All right, that wraps up our install for front upper control arms for 2 to 4 inch lift in black for 06 to 25 four-wheel drive Ram 1500. Just remember, for everything Ram related, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.